The 1920s was an amazing time for music. Right after World War I, or as it was called then, the Great War, people came home, and they didn't have a lot to do. And so, they expressed their boredom in the lovely art of music. They created a whole new style of music called jazz, which prompted the Jazz Age. The Jazz Age lasted from 1920 till 1929, when the stock market in America took a major dive and crashed into nothingness, causing the Great Depression of the 1930s. This was mostly due to the fact that everybody borrowed money without actually paying it back through credit and bank loans and installment plans, so they could have wonderful products right then without paying money, which doesn't work for very long. The Jazz Age glorified city life. Americans, including African Americans from the South, they were leaving their farms and going to the cities. Jazz was most popular in huge megacities like New York City and Chicago, where lots and lots of people could go to these clubs and these places and they could watch African Americans playing different instruments in the style of jazz on a stage. African Americans weren't allowed in the restaurant portion of the area. They could only play on stage, and no African Americans could go watch them. The actual music of jazz was all instrumental. There were no words, but people put words to the music, creating dances such as the Charleston, where women wore dresses with lots of stuff attached to them and would dance around. They were called flappers because their stuff flapped all around, and they danced to these songs. The Charleston was a dance created by African Americans on an island off Charleston, South Carolina in the early 1900s, and it evolved into a giant popular dance that everybody knew. Some of the more famous jazz artists are people like Duke Ellington, who moved to New York City in the early 1920s and became a composer, and Louis Armstrong, who played the trumpet in Chicago, as well as King Oliver, who moved around a bit but ended up joining up with Louis Armstrong in Chicago. When the stock market crash happened in 1929, jazz did take a dip in popularity, but it never died. It's still around today. It's always been pretty popular. It's pretty good music. It, of course, wasn't always the most popular, but it stuck around, and that's good because people worked hard in the 1920s to make it something that would last, and it certainly did. In 1929, after the stock market crash, were not allowed in the Lamborghini. Louis Armstrong. Don't forget him. He played the trumpet. Pro tip: don't leave projects to the last minute. They don't work out well.